All right, may not look too impressive on this side, but they got the front sanded and ready for paint. And then of course over here, it's been primed. I just have to block it out and get ready for paint. It just looks good. It's very exciting, sir. So today we're going to actually try to mount this window. I won't take you through the whole process because I want this to be done just as much as everybody else does. I'm going to put it in place, see if it's wide enough, if I don't need to grind or cut anything. Hopefully it should be perfect. We'll find out here shortly. I would guess it's pretty safe to assume that this sealant's going to have to be removed. I don't know if you can kind of see there's a lip right there. It'll have to be ground out, but it's all framing everywhere else, so I don't really have much of a choice. So that's all framing. That's pretty rare to see that much framing. Alright guys, so I didn't record too much as far as voiceover on this. I think everybody just wants this to be done, and I was just like you guys. Right here, all I'm doing is grinding out. All the extra fiberglass is going to be in the way of the window fitting very well. I'm going to grind a little bit at a time to make sure that I don't grind too much away. But I really can't grind too much away because, quite honestly, there's a frame there. So what I'm going to do here is just test fit this, see how I do, make my adjustments, and my guess is I'm going to have to do this again. So here I go again. I'm going to start grinding again, do another little test fit. Now, for the most part, this went pretty easily, just got a lot of fiberglass all over me. Now once the window's in there and I know that it fits, what I'm going to do is take the window out again. I can't install it because the interior wall's in the way. Good smack gets it in there. We want it tight, not loose, right? So when I take it back out again, now I'll go ahead, I'll mark on the interior walls with some holes. Not that I really need to mark it, but I'm going to use a body saw, a little air saw to cut out the paneling. I was going to use a router, but it seemed like a lot more work to use a router than just a body saw. It is just 1/8 inch paneling. So basically all I'm going to do is connect the dots and use the framing itself as, you know, a guide. It's pretty straightforward. Now my son is helping me out today, and so he's inside making sure I'm not cutting anything important. And there, it's a big chunk out of the way. That's a big day. That's a wonderful feeling right there. He's going to hold the plastic trim out of the way so we don't cut that, and basically the window opening's open. Hello. Now I do actually have butyl tape on there. I didn't show the process. It's gray. I would have preferred black, but gray will work fine. I'm still going to do a cap seal around it. My son's going to hold the window so I don't push it out as I put the trim ring in. You can see me putting it in on the inside here. It comes in 2 pieces, 2 halves. It's just going to be screwed together, and it clamps the window to the opening. Really, it's basic RV window installation. And I can't tell you how happy this makes me to have this window installed. Now with that window installed, the entry door painted, now I can put the entry door window back in. It's the exact same process again. Really nothing, I didn't have to make any adjustments. We took the window out to fix the door and to paint it. So all I'm doing is putting it back in again. So this is nothing really to see, just put it back in. And we'll be out of this pretty fast. Now with those windows installed, what we're going to do is install the awnings. First thing we'll do is the entry door awning. This is a box awning. It's just going to slide onto the awning rail that's already mounted on the sidewall. The awning rail itself supports the awning pretty well. My son will keep me from dropping it. There's some screws that secure it underneath, and the wiring gets connected. What I'll do here is just test out the awning, make sure it extends, make sure it retracts without binding up. And with that awning installed, that's one big project out of the way. We've had these awnings for about 6 months now. They've been taking up some space, and it's nice to have them out of the way and installed. Now with the indoor awning installed, we'll go ahead and switch to the patio awning. patio awning is a big Weather Pro patio awning. We already have the tube mounted to the new arms. Micah and Chad are going to help me out. Micah will grab the front arm, just slide it onto the awning rail. Chad will direct it onto the awning rail, and I'm just in the back supporting it. Now Tiffin installed the patio awning on this slide out, but the slide out topper is actually in the way. Tiffin did it pretty weird, so we had to pull the slide out topper out of the way in order to slide it on. Once it's slid on, Chad will just go ahead and put some lag screws at the top. They're just going to go right where the original ones went. No new holes. Worked out pretty well there. Once the lag screws are installed, we'll go ahead, take the straps off the awning arms themselves because they are spring-loaded to open. So it comes with some Velcro straps and stickers to hold it closed. We'll open it up, put the rivets in down at the bottom, and hook up the wiring. It's a pretty standard awning installation. Once it's all installed, I'm just going to go ahead and run it in one more time, and that's another big project out of the way. Now, you're going to do 2 coats, right? You're going to do 2 coats, right?
Yes, sir. It's the second coat.
No, don't go lying to me.
Well, hey, it's Good Friday.
I know.
You're not supposed to lie.
Well, hopefully there won't be too much touch-ups, right?
No.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Is he rolling his eyes yet? I think he's rolling his eyes. Alright guys, today's a big day for us because today we're going to take this. I don't know if you can see, there's a generator in the back of my truck. I need to go get this generator installed. Now, I'm going to try to show you guys something. Now, the way Tiffin did this generator slide that we rebuilt, I don't know how long ago, the generator doesn't slide out. The generator stays mounted in there. So the generator has to be mounted from below. So in order to mount this generator, this entire RV needs to be lifted up. The jacks won't let it up that much because, again, that entire big box right there has to fit underneath. Short of digging a hole, I'm gonna have to get this motorhome up in the air. So to do that, I'm going to enlist the help of a good friend's shop. And I'm gonna drive this over to their shop, put it on their lift, put the generator on a utility cart, lift it up into place, and then the generator will be installed. But to drive it over there, I need to secure the harness, the remote harness right here, and the 110 harness so it doesn't drag on the ground. The fuel lines and the battery cables look okay. So other than that, I think we're ready to wrap this thing up. I mean, it's dirty. I'll throw in the wiper arms so I can drive there safely, right? But here's a sneak peek. I don't think there's any way anybody could ever know what would happen or what happened. Sure is a pretty coach. All right, guys. Well, it's the first drive, and I don't know if you guys remember, we didn't do any engine work, any chassis work on this thing. This thing is driving a rennet. I don't see anything wrong. I'm just taking the back roads right now. Just got to get on the lift. I have my son behind me with the generator in my truck. Should be able to see him right there. Now, even though I've been doing this for about 25 years and I drove a lot of heavy equipment in the military, I still don't like driving these things. I'm still not completely confident about it. I'm actually not as comfortable as most RVers driving RVs. Isn't that weird? So this is actually going to be a pretty good chance for me to do a little quick shakedown cruise, because really this thing hasn't been on the road for about 2 years. It was in the accident. It was towed to the insurance yard and then towed to Arizona from Georgia, I think. Or, you know, it must have been Alabama. So it's pretty impressive. This is why I've always said I don't know why this thing was totaled out. There's cosmetic damage, there's electrical damage, but the chassis is 100%. The rest of that box is fantastic. And if the people that towed it wouldn't have destroyed the back of it, it would only been front end damage. So it's a good shakedown cruise too. So that was a quick little 5-mile test drive, and I can tell you this thing handled perfectly. I didn't have a single problem with anything. Now I don't want to jinx anything, but this is a nice motorhome. This is going to be a good drive. It was smooth, didn't pull, no vibrations, no hesitations in the engine. I'm sure this engine's very happy. I'm sure the transmission's very happy to actually be getting a little bit more than a few idles every once in a while. I know that DEF exhaust is pretty happy too, probably. You can see my gauges right there. Everything's looking good. Now, some of you that follow my channel should know where I'm going. I'm going to be pulling into Premium Coach Group here because I get to borrow their lift. Chad was nice enough to let me borrow his lift, and that'll make my job a lot easier. So, just going to be pulling in to Premium Coach Group. Great guys. Nice to work with. Open the gate and we'll get in the back and get set up. Alright, so here's what we came for. These 4 lift posts. We're going to lift this motorhome up a little bit. That way we can get under it safely. Alright, I think we're set, Thomas. I hope so too. Are you ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, to my eye, we did get it. Where it can get underneath there, which is good because that's as deep as we need to get. All right, so here we are back almost where we started again. Now I have to take these bolts out to unbolt this mount so I can then put it on the bottom of the generator right there. I'll have to thread the holes for the bolts, and then once this is mounted onto the generator, then we can roll the whole thing in right here, slide it up, and bolt it back on again. I mean, that's definitely the hope. I can't tell you how unnerving I find being under these jacks most of the time is. I know they're safe, but it's still weird to have it levitating like that.
Is that the condenser?
Yeah, it's a condenser coil for the dash AC. Yeah, when I was wiring it all back up again, there's like this plug sitting there way up front, and I'm like, well, what the heck is that for? And it was for that. You know what I also say while we're underneath here? We'll paint all this. All right, but driving this thing without even that foamed up, I didn't hear any wind noise. But that whole thing needs to get foamed up too. We'll do that back at the other shop. These hoses are going to be in the way, so I'll just disconnect those. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Some idiot put a air horn mount in the way. Ready? I don't know if you guys can see right there. You can see the VIN number actually on the frame.
Oh, they put the VIN number on the frame?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Does that mean...
You can't steal the RV?
No, I mean, like, does that mean the front cap had one?
No, not at all. Oh. That's only... The VIN number is only attached to the frame. That's the actual vehicle. The rest is just built on it. Like if you're to get a trailer, you know? Mm-hmm. The VIN number is assigned to the trailer. You can build whatever you want on it. All right, go ahead and bring it down. All right, so this is the front. It's very important to remember that's the front.
Do you have a paint marker?
You know what? A good friend of mine just sent me a nice silver magic marker. An arrow. What is that? That's not an arrow. That's a squiggly line. You know, you've been done with an F already.
I don't like your opinion.
I understand. Thanks a lot, Kenny. It's a big help.
Okay.
So these are going to be where this is going to get bolted on. The bolts will come up through here. I got washers for that, don't worry about it. The only thing I will want to do, this is cast aluminum. I just need to thread some holes into that. All right, I know a lot of people do this with a drill, but it scares me every time I see people do this. I've had too many taps to actually break on me. This is cast aluminum, so it should be pretty easily to do.
Shh. Sacrilegious stuff saying that.
And everybody's saying, back off, you're not breaking the chips off. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. All right, they've all been drilled out, hopefully, or all been tapped out. So I got the mount on that utility cart. We'll lower this, so that's all there, and we can slide it forward, bolt it on, and then put it underneath. Right? Right.
Sure hope so. Strength of metal.
All right, well that didn't take forever, because it didn't take forever, just a little bit longer. So we got the holes lined up. We'll put the bolts in, lower this thing back down, and bolt it on. One thing I am noticing is how off-center this generator really looks on that mount, but that's because, if you guys remember when we tore it apart, the engine is actually the heavy part, the engine and the generator, so that's pretty much from this point to the back. So that makes sense. This front part is really just mostly air, so that should be fine. Let's get it bolted up and put in. Tighten these guys up.
Sure. Let's,
Okay.
Click.
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 We'll lower it down so that it doesn't fall too far when I drop it. Oh, mama. All right. Is this going to work?
I sure hope so.
All right. Let's cut some of these things, get some stuff out of the way. Not hitting there yet, so we're good there. Just that we have to get out of the way. All right, so I think we're about ready to mount this thing up. Had to change our plan a few times, but I think if you go ahead and crank it up a little bit. We're almost there. Almost there. All right, stop. Let me straighten it up and we'll put some bolts in. All right, my guy, let me trade you tools. You take that, I'll take this. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yep. Okay. Well, that's quite the milestone. We got a generator mounted back in there. Go ahead and get this jack out of the way. Ooh. Ooh. Did you call me sketchy?
I called you sketchy.
There's nothing safer than wood on a jack. That's mechanic 101. All right, so we come to the outside here. Look at that. We got a generator mounted in here. Remember there was a big old void? Now there's not.
I don't remember the void anymore.
And I know how everybody's complaining that, oh, there's too much damage on this thing. It looks horrible. I'd demand a whole new one. Well, you can't even see where the damage is because it's behind here. And the only other panel we didn't change out is on this side. And again, you can't see it. It's way back there, hidden behind everything. Sometimes you just have to learn to find limits.
Let go.
Right. I mean, this panel wasn't crazy expensive, but it had all the data information on it. I would prefer not to try to transfer this and make this generator look sketchy and let's lose all of this information. The other data plate would have been on the cast bottom, and that got broken, so we had to change that out. Now I just have to hook up the fuel lines in the back. You have to come back here, hook up the fuel lines, the battery cable, hook my air hoses back up to the air horns. There's an exhaust right here, Got the hookup back, dumps out over on this side. And the 110 and the remote start on the inside. So, good job. Alright, let's clamp back up. Ugh. I just have to find a place where I'm going to put this. Which I honestly think is going to be right about here. Okay. Alright. And really, I'm done under here. That's fantastic. Now just go up top, hook up the 110, the remote wire, tie everything up. We can fire this generator up. I took the opportunity while I was under there working to go ahead and charge this up. Now it's in my way. You guys may or may not remember a long time ago, this was actually this was replaced too. So this is the first time we've had charge in the refrigerant for quite some time too. 110 is a big old guy right here. Just take this cover off. There'll be a block for me to hook up to. Let me get that ready and we'll get situated for that. So underneath this cover right there, that's where the remote harness comes out. You can see this block. It's pretty straightforward. You can even see green is for ground. You have white. Those two ones right there are white for neutral. And your two line powers. This is just 50 amp service, so there's not a line 1 or line 2 that it matters on. It's all going to be 110. You notice the two neutrals are together. They're just bonded, or they're actually looped together right there. So you can't really hook this up wrong in that sense. You just have to take this lock ring off, hook it up, lock that down, then hook up the wires. All right, with that, tighten that up, make sure everything's good. So we got our ground or our earth or our chassis green, our two neutrals, and our two line powers. So we should theoretically, if I get everything out of the way, not yet, not yet. Go ahead and hit start, push and hold it down. Well, that's a good sign. Ooh, that's an even better sign. Now, do I dare? I'm not going to dare yet. I won't dare yet. I just want to make sure that it's not leaking anything and we're doing good. I don't really want to get inside. I don't really want to step inside when we're still on the lift. So I just need to secure this wire, lower this thing down, then we start the engine, check the AC, and see if we got 110 power inside. You ready at the front?
Yep.
Bring it down to 30?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Oh, we safely landed. That's a good point. That's always a good sign. Look at that. I guess that's what it's supposed to look like from the factory. Let's try to start with something good, right? Let's do the dash AC. Okay, let's turn the fan up, put it to that. Well, that's coming down. That's going up. I really like those lights too. That feels cold. That feels cold. All right, that's at least one thing down. Go ahead and turn that off. Let's try the generator. Ooh, it's flashing. Ooh, it started. All right. Ready for the scary part, right?
How would be in it?
I still have the breaker off. Let's see if we get 110 power inside. That's a good sign. Bulk charging. So it's getting too hot. Ooh, hear that generator kick up. Put a load on that generator now. That's a good sign. Let's do the last thing we need to do. Alright, so let me do the biggest test. We'll go to temperature, front AC. Now when I started it, it was way too cold. Now it's going to be pretty hot. It should be almost 100 degrees today. Ooh, AC's running now. Took a load. We're doing good. Alright, I'll just let that run for a little bit. Alright, well, it's still blowing cold. We're still charging batteries. Thermostat off. Is there a generator start on here? The generator is up here. So try it there. Hey, it worked. I didn't even know it was there. Out of fresh water. Alright guys, well I think that's pretty much it. This has been a very long project. I'm tired. I'm really excited. For lack of a better term, this job is completed. Now I will tell you, I will have one more video on it once it's all cleaned up and ready to go, because there are about 1,000 little tiny jobs still to do. I just have to grout around that Corian. The dinette table has a couple broken rollers on it I have to fix. And this thing's dirty. It needs some love. But we'll do one more video of doing a complete walkthrough. This has been a long ordeal. I appreciate you guys going through it with me. Now I want to thank my good friend Kenny over at All Seasons Mobile RV Service. He has his own RV channel on YouTube. It's Hillbilly RV. He's a lot of fun to watch too. He's over there in West Virginia. And it's fun to see how everybody works all around the country. Because I really know, without a doubt, there's good RV techs all over this country. In Canada too. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go home, spend some time with the family. Happy Easter. All right. I definitely want to go ahead and thank Chad and the whole crew over at Premium Coach Group here in Gilbert, Arizona for letting me use their shop equipment, getting this coach off the ground, getting the generator installed. Sure made life a lot easier. Thanks a lot, Chad. Thank you, Thomas. It's my son, Thomas. So, if you can see this solar panel, it's like shattered. Even though it's really filthy, but it's shattered. So I assume that when they strapped this thing up, they said, let's strap it down to the solar panel. And they didn't know how to get the satellite dish out of the way, because I think it was in the up position when this thing got in an accident. And besides trying to do it the right way, they said, you know what? We'll just take the whole thing apart and break it. In the future, all you have to do is take out these 5/16 screws. That'll release the entire head from this base plate mounted to the roof. No sealant you have to touch out. Just disconnect the cable. Open up this cover right there. This little data cable. Quick connect. Unplug that. Whole thing comes off. It's very, very simple. It's only, what, a $1,800 satellite dish? Why not just destroy it? And then the last thing I have to do up here on the roof is put the piece of trim all the way across the front cap and seal it up. Whew. It's filthy up here.
OSHA safe.
OSHA doesn't have regulation on lifting generators into motorhomes from underneath on 4-post lift. Your Band-Aid?
Yeah, my skin will glue itself back together eventually.
Alright.
I don't even know what I put myself on. I don't even feel pricking that.
Alright.